This broadcast, telecast, podcast, and whatever the hell else it is copyrighted by the Rad Network and the Rob and Steve Sports Show, all found at theradnetwork.com, and is for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of this madness without the express permission of the Rad Network and Williams Broadcasting and Rob's Really Mean Lawyers is prohibited. So just don't do it. It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show, a show all about the thrill of Rob's victories.
Young almost falls down, throws to the end zone. Owens! Caught it! He caught it! Touchdown pass! Carroll!
And sometimes even the thrill of Steve's victories.
This would be the fifth pennant for the Red Sox since that 1918 season. Here it is, ground ball to second. Reese, the Boston Red Sox have won the pennant. The Boston Red Sox earned this celebration here at Yankee Stadium with the biggest comeback in postseason baseball history.
And sometimes even the agony of Rob's defeats.
Good afternoon. We are here to introduce the new head coach of the San Francisco 49ers, Jim Tomsula.
Email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com. And now, the Rob and Steve Sports Show.
We will begin with an email that came into radcast@theradnetwork.com. You can email us RAS, Rob and Steve, RAS@theradnetwork.com. They all get to the same place. We get them. We start with this email from Jeff. It came in last night, about 9 o'clock. That sounds about right, because it was another late night for Rob on the West Coast, staying up late for me, because I get up at 3 in the morning because of sports. Jeff writes, do I win a prize? Okay, no matter what comes out of your email mouth next, the answer is no. You win no prize, no matter what this says. Jeff says, do I win a prize if I guess correctly that Steve will have a Vegas Golden Knights gear on for today's show, Thursday show? Well, I told you wouldn't win anything anyways, and no, he's wearing Red Sox stuff. Hey, they have like a 3 in a row winning streak or something. Is it right? Do I have that right?
Yes, I'm not sure the Red Sox will win 3 in a row the rest of the season. So I had to jump out here, grab this at this time. I can wear my Vegas Golden Knights stuff, come tomorrow to celebrate as we roll into the next game.
So you do have a system. Right. I think we've talked about this before. I don't remember. Like in terms of, because we always try to wear something sporty, and there's always a question of, at least for me, I don't just grab something like it's like the basketball playoffs or postseason. I can't wear my Kings stuff. They're not in it. That's not So I wear Jordan stuff because I'm a big Jordans fan. But you did give this thought. Did you like oh well, the Red Sox are on a roll? Did you really give it that thought?
I did give it some thought. Normally I don't. I mean, pretty much everything in my closet outside of my work shirts I can throw on because it's sports related outside of my couple of in and out t-shirts. So I just grabbed something. But last night when I was, doing my homework and doing the stuff that I do to prep for the shows, I, was looking at the standings and saw the 3 in a row. And I'm like, tomorrow has to be the best day to wear my Red Sox gear because that may not happen again.
Yeah, and that's so you try to put some thought into it. Like I say, I can do fallback stuff for basketball because I have all the Jordan gear, Nike. That's that's generic, but we try to also support our team. So obviously, a lot of A's stuff for me right now. Now tomorrow's our last show before Memorial Day, and we won't do a show Monday for Memorial Day. So maybe I can roll out, what is the NFL call? Whatever their patriotic thing is that they do every November. I always get some of that. Maybe I'll grab one of my Niners things for that. See, we actually do. We do give it some thought. But no, Jeff, you win nothing and you'll like it. But the reason he might have worn Vegas Golden Knights stuff today goes to that we were, what's the word? A prolific night of texting between Steve and me last night because there was so much going on. Again, as we're bouncing back and forth between various baseball games and the NBA playoffs and the hockey playoffs, and I'm going through all of them. And I got your text, Steve, that the Avalanche, we had hit a power play with the Golden Knights and the Avalanche. So I clicked over it. Now, correct me if I'm wrong. It's 3-1 at this point.
It was 3-1 at the point. I want to say it was about 3 minutes to go in the third period.
And I had been bouncing back and forth. So when I got your text and I knew it how long I had checked in since it was since the with the Vegas game, I was like, oh, we've got to be close. Ooh, hell of a time for a power play. And I clicked over. I think, what did we get? About 20 seconds before we were racing each other to text. Oh, there's one, because sure enough, it was suddenly 3-2 on the power play. Ultimately, though, at the end, towards the end of that, Vegas swipes in a bonus goal, 4-2. Vegas steals one. Carter Hart, good lord, he played every minute. He has played every minute in net this postseason. He was perfect through the first two periods last night as goaltender for the Knights. And as you texted me, I'm paraphrasing here. Big win, huge win, notable win, and it was for the Knights. I mean, they're facing the Avs, and wow, what a no pun intended mountain to climb. They looked good last night. Good win.
It was a great win, and I don't want to deflate it with McCarr being out. They needed to steal one in Colorado to give them the chance here. Carter Hart has played really well during this postseason. I mean, he stopped 36 saves last night, just gave up the one power play goal late in the game. Knights turned it up. I mean, they were attacking, they were playing great. Um, to hold Colorado at only 2 goals and really only 1 goal until 3 minutes, and it was under 3 minutes when they scored. It is an outstanding defensive performance as well. So hats off to the Golden Knights. And Jeff, you would have been right if the Red Sox hadn't won their third straight, but I can come back with the Golden Knights gear tomorrow, to cover that as well. And Marner has just been an unbelievable pickup for the Golden Knights. He has had, he had a really good season, but he has just been outstanding. One of the best players in the NHL in this postseason.
We did text a little bit about McCarr not being there, and we always say, whether it's our teams or not, you want to see teams win or lose with their best. You don't want, and this is a story with the NBA playoffs that we'll get to, you don't want teams to be hobbled. You don't want them to be missing great guys. And I texted you at one point during the power play that just watching that, it felt like, man, if McCarr was in, this would be a different game. But there's no way to know that that's true.
Mhm.
It's just, it feels like that when you see how they the Avs they were on it during that power play, and they had a second shot that was oh so close, and it felt like in that moment, oh man, everything's different with. But I don't know that that's true, and it's important as you said. They stole one here. And I told you yesterday, I'm seeing a lot of people who were before yesterday jumping on the Knights train. You were still like, I don't know. And I do hear a lot of people still saying the Avs are more talented, but I think we got a real series here.
I think we do too. I'm curious to see if McCarr will be ready for game 3. They don't want to be going out on the road. Even 1-1 now makes them in an uncomfortable position. It's tough, though, to lose the best defenseman on the planet as Colorado has here. But credit to the Knights. These are the opportunities teams have to seize. You can't sit back and go, oh, he's out. We don't have to attack. We don't have to. They went after it. They knew the Avs were vulnerable. They exploited that and got the job done. That's all we can ask for a fan. It was a great game. I really enjoyed it and so happy that the Knights got a win.
And the thing that's the thing that's nice for any team that wins one on the road, like the Spurs did, game 1, is that game 2, a lot of the pressure is off, and you hope that propels your team to be looser and maybe steal a second one on the road, as opposed to somehow letting it get to your head like, oh, we got this in the bag, or hey, which most pros won't do. And so the hope is, look, that's great. We're up already by 1. Big deal if we lose. We go back home and it's all even. That's where you want them to be. And that'll be tomorrow night when they play, and we'll wait for word on McCarr, which brings us to tonight. It's been 107 years since an NHL team had a break between 2 playoff series as long as the one the Carolina Hurricanes are experiencing. We've been talking about this specifically with hockey. There's an argument for the rest, and you get well, and you heal up. Hockey, super physical, right? And you feel better, but wait, What about the M word, momentum, and specifically with hockey players, the toughest SOBs on the planet? They want to play. They want to play. So, what happens after 11 of these days? The Hurricanes' last game, May 9th, which was their completion of their second round sweep of the Flyers. And then they watched the Canadiens and the Sabres beat each other up for 7. 11 full days since Carolina last played. That's the longest layoff since 1919. The Hurricanes host the Canadiens tonight, game 1. Rest versus momentum, you could say. The consensus prediction on ESPN for all of their hockey analysts that they could get, 23 of them, 21 say Hurricanes. Whether it's in 5 or 6, 21 of the 23 say the Hurricanes. It's on TNT tonight at 5. I felt like you were saying Hurricanes too, Steve, but it's not it's cakewalk. It's not that, is it? And what about that 11 days?
The 11 days really worries me. I mean, no team gets 11 days off, even during the All-Star break. And they probably did this year, due to the Olympics. I think it was the year before when they had the 4-on-4 Canada, USA part. But where you want to have the rest and recover, that's just for me too long of a break. You can only get that in, even if you're scrimmaging yourself, you're not getting that full on practice and what you need. I believe the Canadians were 3-0 against the Hurricanes during the regular season. So it's not like they're intimidated in any way. I am on the Hurricanes, though. I think they are the better team here. And I would take them to win the series. I'm just really kind of concerned that the Hurricanes might come out slow. Montreal might get up 1-0, 2-0. I mean, they just played a game 7, so they have all that momentum. They have, their backs have been against the wall. They're not intimidated here. And I think Montreal is going to come out, fast and hard at them and really try to take advantage of that rest that the Hurricanes have had.
Here's something you rarely get in hockey, some positive news about a coach. It's usually fired. Having transformed the Sabres into contenders, Lindy Ruff will have the opportunity to build on the team's breakthrough season by continuing his second stint as coach. Yesterday, the Sabres signed him to a 2-year contract extension. He is a Jack Adams NHL Coach of the Year finalist following the season in which the Sabres ended their 14 season playoff drought. I mean, that is noteworthy. Where is he on your Coach of the Year meter?
Oh, I think he has to be the Coach of the Year. I'm not sure who else I would put ahead of him. As you read that, it's sorry to admit this, but my question went to, I wonder if he's going to be able to fulfill his full term of his contract prior to him getting fired. And I hate that thought, but the NHL is so quick and turning coaches over that if they go and regress and become the Buffalo Sabres that we've known for the last, 14, 15 years, the question is where's he at the end of this next season? He had an outstanding season. I really hope they build off of this momentum. But like we see in hockey many times, there's that regression that follows.
Yeah, God forbid they start out something atrocious like 4-5. He might get fired. I mean, it's so comical in the NHL. But for now, he's got his 2-year extension. All right. I did my homework. What?
Sorry.
What?
And I was going to add to that, because now that we see what's going on with Cassidy and the Vegas Golden Knights denying him from taking another job, I wonder if the NHL is going to follow that trend and just say, hey, look, if we're paying him, I'm not going to allow him to go coach another team. And with that constant turnover and then not allowing coaches to coach other teams, I wonder where this would all go.
That's a terrible precedent. I hope they get past that. It's not okay. It's not what they do in any sport. I don't know what the Knights are doing. We're all still waiting to hear word as to why, but it's not a good precedent to set. So let's hope they figure that out. Now, the homework I was alluding to there was you actually did it. I kind of did it this morning, but we were talking about Aaron Rodgers. Stay with us, kids. It's not a terrible Aaron Rodgers update. He is back, right? He's a Steelers quarterback. But the question was posed: right now today, not you're building a team around him for the future, this year, and just assume all things are equal. Where is Aaron Rodgers? Is he, I think the question started with, is he a top half? Is he 16 or better? Compared to the other starting quarterbacks or presumed starting quarterbacks that we have out there. And initially, we just started rattling off names, and as we were naming them, I gave up. I said, no, he's not. I know I'm going to get past 16 that I would take over Aaron Rodgers, and we kind of left it there. And then you spent more time after that show, and you reported yesterday, out of 32 quarterbacks, you had Rodgers at, I want to say, 25?
Yes.
Okay. So not only is he not top half, he ain't top 20. He's barely top 25. Remind me if you remember. I don't know if you wrote them down or if you just have them memorized. Where, because I know we talked about it yesterday. Where did you put Kyler Murray, ahead or behind Aaron Rodgers?
I had Kyler Murray behind him.
Okay. I don't remember what I said yesterday. When I did it today, and all I did was I went through the presumed starters, and I just because I knew the number would be lower on this end. I just highlighted who's not better than Aaron Rodgers. The ones that I wouldn't take over Aaron Rodgers. I put Murray ahead of him. When I got to it and I thought about it, I went, he has. It's not like Kyler Murray hasn't played in 2 years like Deshaun Watson, or you made a great point about Mendoza yesterday. You can't put Mendoza ahead Aaron Rodgers. We have no body of work. That's dumb. We have bodies of work on Kyler Murray. I put him ahead. I don't know where. I didn't number him. Maybe he's right ahead. And the reason I bring him up first is because this whole conversation came from a USA Today article that I had seen. I hadn't prepped it or anything, but when we were talking about Aaron Rodgers, I threw the headline at you. The headline was, ranking NFL starting quarterbacks worst to best, where's Aaron Rodgers? They had Kyler Murray ahead of Aaron Rodgers as well. And so I wanted to double check that you had him behind. You would rather have Rodgers than Kyler Murray.
Yes.
Okay. Here's what the USA. So the USA Today ultimately had Aaron Rodgers at 21, so a little higher than you. Here's who they had behind him, and I'll tell you who I agreed with. Who basically last on the list for USA Today. And again, I didn't rank mine. This might be my answer too, but last on the list was whoever the Cardinals wind up starting, because we have no idea right now if we're doing it today. Is it Jacoby Brissett? Or a player to be named later. I'm good with that. With what we know. Now, I asked you this one yesterday too. Where'd you put Geno Smith, ahead or behind?
I put Geno Smith behind.
Yeah, I did too, but I'm not sure. I'm a little wobbly on that one.
If you're wobbly at Geno Smith, you got to have Rodgers at about 30, and then my 25 is like a lot higher, and you were stunned that I went 25. You thought he was going to be higher than that.
In fact, as I look at my notes now, in the end, I didn't put Geno Smith behind Aaron Rodgers. I put him ahead. When I did it just like 30 minutes ago. And I finally had to go through, okay, highlight Aaron Rodgers is better than this person. I didn't highlight Geno Smith. The USA Today put him at 31st, so he's the worst quarterback in the league, according to USA Today, because whoever the Arizona Cardinals start is the only thing lower than Geno Smith. Malik Willis, who we presume is going to be the Dolphins starter, was the Packers backup. I thought he was a really good backup. Where did you have Malik Willis, ahead or behind?
I have him ahead, and if this article has, Willis sitting at 30, I think they're greatly mistaken in that. I would take Willis all day long.
That one and the next one were the two that I'm sorry, not the next one. That's the one that really jumped out at me. Went, what? Yeah, they have Malik Willis 30th. Come on.
And the thing I would ask is just look at what Malik Willis did, and okay, it was with Green Bay. He can't, duplicate that with Miami. But to me, I agree with the 32nd and the 31st. To me, the 30th is whoever starts for the Cleveland Browns.
Bingo.
Right now, that's my 30.
I have them highlighted, and that's who they had at 29th. So they have ahead of Malik Willis, one better, It's whoever the Browns start. And their justification for Malik Willis at 30th, it does not follow the spirit of the exercise. The spirit of the exercise is best quarterbacks you want more or less than Aaron Rodgers, all things equal. And their argument for putting Malik Willis at 30th was, well, he's not going to get much help from the rest of the Dolphins. No, that's not what. No, no,
No, it's not. It's we all have the exact same team. And now all you're doing is plugging and playing the quarterback. I'll take Malik Willis all day long over Aaron Rodgers.
Agreed. Me too. And then they had the whoever the Browns start, all pro, Shadir Sanders.
Yes.
Or Deshaun Watson. That's at 29th. They pulled a U, which I'm not doing that. I don't know what to do about this team because you made a great point about Francisco Mendoza or Fernando Mendoza. Sorry. We have nobody working, but he's not going to be the opening day starter. We don't think. So it's Kirk Cousins. I have Cousins ahead of Rodgers. You didn't, which
I would have him, but I'm not sure exactly who's going to start there. And I know that Kirk Cousins is not going to start the entire. How I would love to see him start the entire season. I think I've texted you about that and what would the Raiders do. There's a couple of different scenarios sitting out there along with Deshaun Watson on what would you do. But just because we didn't know if he was going to start, that's why I put him behind Aaron Rodgers, because we know Rodgers is starting.
I think that is the weird one in there. You're right. And we know that, or we presume, he won't start all season. I do love the idea, though, of Kirk Cousins has a great season. Whether or not Mendoza ever gets in, he has a really good season, a great season, and then he winds up the Raiders wind up trading him to the Steelers to replace their other aging quarterback because it's Rodgers.
And keep in mind the Kirk Cousins has that 4-year contract. So he was smart enough to dial up the years and say, look, if I can perform, let's see where we go.
I really don't think you're going to like the next, certainly 2, maybe 3 of the next 4 that are behind Rodgers. In other words, Rodgers is better than number 27, Jackson Dart.
No chance. You're telling me right now that and I believe Jackson Dart, if he had come out in this draft, this past one we had, that he would have been the number 1 quarterback taken. And we watched Ty Simpson at 13. So he would have been a top 13 pick. You're telling me if Aaron Rodgers at this age, this everything came out in the draft, that he's going to be a top 13 pick? Not a chance.
Nope. That one wasn't even hard for me. Jackson Dart. Whatever they do with him in New York, I would rather have that. But I would just rather have that guy, all things being equal. He's over Aaron Rodgers. They said, I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. He's better than Daniel Jones on the Colts.
I don't think so. I get that argument. I mean, Daniel Jones has had one good season with the Giants. He had the first half of this last season with the Colts. So I could give you that. And I'm not sure if I had Daniel Jones ahead of Aaron Rodgers. He was pretty close. If I did, it was barely, but it wouldn't have surprised me if I had slid him down. I got to see who the other 7 that I came up with worse than Rodgers, but Daniel Jones is a borderliner to me.
He is a borderliner. Again, I didn't actually rank mine, but I know in my head I had already done, because I just did them in order, alphabetical order, however they print them out, AFC, East, North, Southwest, and then the NFC, same thing. So I'd already done the Geno Smith exercise, and I had said, no, I'd rather have Geno Smith than Aaron Rodgers. And when I got to Daniel Jones, I said, oh, yeah, I want him. I want him more than Aaron Rodgers. I think there's more upside to Daniel Jones. And then they also had behind Aaron Rodgers, so Aaron Rodgers is better than Cam Ward of the Tennessee Titans.
I had him ahead of Cam Ward. I'm really critical of Cam Ward. I was not impressed with his season at all. I know that many people love him and he's going to develop, and I hope he really does. But going into this year with the assignment, we got the same team. We have 1 year. We're not looking future. We're not looking any of that. I had Cam Ward behind Aaron Rodgers.
This one was tough for me because of my bias, admitted bias towards the Titans. I think that Salah and Daboll are a great combination. I think they're going to do some pretty impressive things with the whole team, let alone Cam Ward. But yes, ultimately, that was it. Unlike the USA Today, I stuck with the assignment. I got 1 year to win, and I need a quarterback, and my two choices are Aaron Rodgers or Cam Ward. In their current states, I'm taking Aaron Rodgers. I know what I'm getting there. I'm getting some reliable, good stuff as opposed. I don't know Cam Ward. They also had whoever starts for the Falcons behind Aaron Rodgers, whether it's Tua or Michael Penix Jr. They would rather have Aaron Rodgers.
And see, I would not. I like Michael Penix Jr. I'm curious to see. I'd love to see him stay healthy, what he can do. But even Tua at his worst, and believe me, you and I both talked about how Tua should have retired after all of those concussions. But Tua's numbers aren't that bad throughout his career. He's not a Hall of Famer. He's not even an All Pro. Although Shador Sanders has that claim to fame. But Tua hasn't been disgusting as a quarterback, and I'm not saying Aaron Rodgers has either. I just think Rodgers is so limited in what he can do in today's game.
This is similar. This is a personally similar thing to me to the Raiders because we just don't know. I mean, we think we have a better idea with the Raiders that it's going to be Kirk Cousins. I think the Falcons, they don't know between Tua or Michael Penix Jr. If it's Penix Jr., he's better than Rodgers. I'd rather have him. I know he's prone to injuries. I love what he does when he's on the field. Everybody's prone to injuries. So I'm not going to ding him just for that. I would rather have Penix. I don't know about Tua. I hear what you're saying. It's a tough one for me. It's close.
And from our prior conversations, I'm viewing it as Michael Penix Jr. I think he has a lot more skill set right now in his career. And I'm banking on him being healthy going into the season. I know there's still some questions, but what I've heard so far, I believe, has been positive, and he's trending towards being healthy. And if he is, I think he beats out Tua at that quarterback position.
Yeah, and the way I ultimately did it was I said, okay, it's not like the Browns. We don't know. We we hear Deshaun Watson's got the leg up to be the starter. Whether it's him or all pro, Shador Sanders, no. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. Dolphins is different. I'm sorry, Falcons is different. Tua, Michael Penix Jr. Again, if it's Michael Penix Jr., rather have him. Tua. So I went the same logic. I said, I think Penix is going to start. I'm going to base it on Penix, so I put him ahead of Aaron Rodgers. There's two more. I asked you yesterday about Bryce Young of the Panthers. Did you have him better or worse than Aaron Rodgers?
I have him ahead of Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I'd rather have Bryce Young than Aaron Rodgers. And do we know about the Saints? Is it Shoe?
Tyler Shuck.
Shuck? You can't pronounce that Shuck.
Nah, that's how it's pronounced, Tyler Shuck. And if you really looked at his numbers, and the Saints were bad, but he had a really good last 8 games of the season. I have him ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Watching what he did, I think if he can make that big jump that we expect from quarterbacks in that second year, because that's where we see it, I think the Saints team, I mean, there's nobody who dominates in that division. As you said, in whatever article that was, they had them all 7-10. So I'll take Shuck, roll my dice, and see if he can lead the Saints to that division. But I think he was better. He had a really good second half of the season.
I mean, obviously, I know nothing about the guy. I don't even know how to pronounce his name. So I kind of put them in the Cardinals basket of whoever starts for the Saints. I'd rather have Rodgers, but I don't know anything about Shuck, so that's kind of an ignorant placement on my part. So I might have to rethink that one. And then you get to Rodgers, 21st. Aaron Rodgers, according to USA Today was the 21st quarterback. So he also wasn't 20 for USA Today, top 20, but he was a little bit better than your top 25. Right ahead of Rodgers was C.J. Stroud, and then all the names you'd expect and that we haven't said. Generous, I think, because as you pointed out, as I keep looking at my list, the truth of the matter is I mean, I had New Orleans lower than Rodgers because I don't know anything about Shuck. I don't know that. I definitely have the Cardinals. Whoever the Cardinals quarterback is below Rodgers. Whoever the Browns quarterback below Rodgers. I went ahead and I put Cam Ward below him, but it was nip and tuck. But then the Raiders, man, because I think it's Kirk Cousins. You're right, he's not going to start all season. That one's wobbly, but that's my list. I'm at like 4 or 5, maybe.
I don't think you're a 4 or 5. You named off like 2, maybe 3. I mean, you went with because you had Geno Smith ahead of him. See, I give the Cardinals, I give the Browns, and I give the Cardinals, the Browns, and the Jets. So that puts the best he can be for me as 29th. And I'm not sure he really deserves to be higher than 29th because I would take the Kirk Cousins. And I'm trying to think who else. Cam Ward, I could easily be talked into Cam Ward, who I had him behind. And I'm trying to think who else, but I could.
The Browns.
The Browns were one of the 3. The Browns, the Jets, and the Cardinals were 30, 31, and 32. So I could make a point that 25th was generous.
It was. I mean, at least if you off of my list, the only 2 solids I have are whoever starts for the Browns and whoever starts for the Cardinals. I'd rather have Aaron Rodgers. Then we have this goofy Saints issue because I just don't know the guy. And Cam Ward, that one I could easily they flip him ahead. And then the Raiders issue, which I would absolutely take Kirk Cousins. So yeah, I've got Rodgers around 29th because I basically named 2.5. I gave you 2. Yes. Sorry, Pittsburgh. That's the reality of the situation because does anyone want to argue? Go ahead, send your emails, res@theradnetwork.com. You'd rather have Aaron Rodgers than Justin Herbert, Dak Prescott, Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Kyler Murray, maybe, Michael Penix Jr., Bryce Young, whoever the Shuck guy is, Baker Mayfield, whoever the Cardinals are starting, Stafford, Purdy, I mean, the list goes on and on and on. No, I don't know how you make the case.
That's why I got the Steelers at 8.5 wins. Are they going to be 8-9 or 9-8?
And I'm starting to go with the under, but that's because of this conversation. I mean, some of the names were so obvious, right? I mean, obviously Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, even with all the rumors about whatever he's doing, Joe Burrow, Drake May. Is anyone going to
Patrick Mahomes?
Right, the Bo Nix and Trevor Lawrence. I think we hit all of them at some point here.
Matthew Stafford.
Yep, yeah, and of course Darnold, Sam Darnold. Yeah. There you go. There's the list. Sorry, that's what you're getting with Aaron Rodgers. Homework done. We'll be back after this.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say.
Stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. SueBerry with an A.com. That's SueBerry, B-A-R-R-Y.com, SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040, Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. MAP, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
Just like you, they dreamt of hitting the game-winning homer to win the World Series. And just like you, well, you know. Once again, here's Rob and Steve on the Rad Network.
We'll jump to baseball for a little bit. We still, of course, have basketball to talk about. There's more NFL in the news. As I mentioned last night, lots of texting between the Rob and Steve show going back and forth, back and forth. So many games of interest, not just postseason, but we talked yesterday about Shohei Ohtani pitching but hitting, which has not been happening lately. I decided to let him hit and do both, and it wasn't long. I got a text right after the game started. Well, that's not. Yeah, pretty much. From Steve. Ohtani, home run. Oh, lead off. Oh, okay. Ohtani homered already. And sure enough, the Dodgers rubber match against the Padres. Ohtani was in the lineup on his start day. Hasn't occurred in nearly a month, and he hit a leadoff homer. Pitched 5 scoreless innings in the Dodgers 4-0 victory. Pushed their lead over the Padres to 1.5 games in the West. Ohtani retired the first 9 hitters in order, but needed 52 pitches to do so by the 5th. His high 90s fastball was coming in at mid-90s. Bottom of the Padres lineup loaded the bases with 1 out in that inning. His 88th pitch got him out of it, and that was his last. It registers as Ohtani's shortest start of the season to the 5 innings, but it also dropped his ERA to that massive .73. He struck out 4, 2 walks, 4 relievers, completed LA's 5-hitter, excuse me, and both the Dodgers and the Padres are off today. So the Dodgers are up to a game and a half. That's a big deal in the National League West. And Ohtani, hitting and pitching, seemed to do pretty good at both. It's not like because he was hitting, that's why, right, we're not making the case that because he was hitting is why his fastball started to drain in the 5th inning. Seems like a pretty good victory for the Dodgers.
I think it was a really good victory. The part of the text that I didn't send was the game over, which I was going to add after that, after watching his leadoff home run to start the game off. Dodgers, I thought, had a really good game. Their whole lineup outside of Pajes got on base. Mookie Betts had a couple of hits. And, you know, their offense has really been struggling, especially as of late. And they need to get him going. Freddie Freeman's been on a roll right now. He continued last night with a couple more hits. I really think the Dodgers might be getting better here. The Padres, they still concern me. Tatis got a hit, but isn't doing anything for power. Machado, he's down to 178 now. These are two players that are so important to the success of this Padres team. I give them credit for where they're at. Vasquez has been their best starter all season long for them. He's had a great season, but he didn't even get out of the fifth inning, and he was pulled, gave up 3 runs and 4 1/3. It was his worst outing of the season. And, luckily the Padres won that first game. The Dodgers took 2 out of 3 and maybe back on track.
So the Shohei meter, where we're all freaking out because he was 0 for 18. Oh, he's done. He can't hit. Just let him pitch and all. It does apply. So here's the thing. When I was watching last night's game, and I didn't watch much after Ohtani came out, I kept making sure they weren't blowing it for him. He wasn't Ohtani because he's so good. I expect a level of movement on that sweeper in particular, but all of his balls, the velocity, sure, you're always watching that. You could just tell from the very beginning. I mean, to me, watching him, it was like, he's not on it. Let's see if he gets it. Let's see if he hits it. And we start to freak out over the fact that he retired the first 9 hitters in order, but he needed 52 pitches to do so because he's Shohei, and he should be living up to the formula. A dozen pitches an inning is 108 pitch complete game. There's your ideal thing. If you can average 12 per inning, however you do it, 108, so you can do 13, and you're going to be close. You 12, 13, 12, 13. Oh, my God. He averaged 17 pitches an inning for the first 3. Still retired the side. But everybody freaked out. Oh, my God. It's not. He just had an off day. That's what I saw. He wasn't, not even an off day. Not even an off day. That's not fair. He wasn't at premium Ohtani 100% on the mound.
And the expectations are so unrealistic. I mean, oh yeah, he had an off day. 5 innings, 3 hits, 2 walks, 4 K. So he put 1 runner on per inning pitched, almost 1 K per. His ERA is 0.73. I mean, at a certain point, except that he is unbelievably good, but the expectation that he's going to be perfect every outing out is crazy. And one of the things I would say is, because I've always viewed starting pitchers like this, if you are an elite pitcher, you will go out a third of your starts and you will be unhittable. You will be great. A third of your outings, you're going to go out there and you're going to have good stuff, but you're not going to be, and you're good, but you're missing some stuff. And a third of your outings, you're going to take them out and just not have anything. And it's what you can do to get through that third of your starts when you don't have your fastball, you don't have any zip on your curveballs or your sliders or anything like that. It's the elite pitchers still find ways to win. Ohtani didn't have it. He still threw a shutout and didn't get it. And with the pitch count, 88 pitches in 5 innings, that's kind of the norm today. I mean, we don't get the Greg Maddux 80-pitch complete game shutouts anymore. All we ask is them to get us 5 innings and throw under 100 pitches. So he fell into the analytics and what he's supposed to do, because we want maximum effort at every time, at every pitch, every swing, etc. And then even getting into his hitting, I mean, give the guy a break. The guy's hitting 272 with 8 bombs. His on base is 399 and his slugging is 486. If I remove the name, you would call him one of the best hitters in the game. And yet we're being critical of him, saying he's not performing up to the expected standards.
And are we really doing this? Are we Aaron judging him? Are people really sitting around believing Ohtani is not going to, at some point here, get red hot for a month or 3 weeks, which is all it takes? Of course he is.
He'll probably do it a couple more times throughout the course of the season. He will be fine. He is an unbelievable athlete.
It's like you have that kid who's a straight A student, and he comes home with an A minus, and the parents go, "How did you only get an A minus?" Like, Jesus, give the guy a break. His numbers are extraordinary. Now they're both, as I said, off today. Padres and Dodgers. Dodgers will deal with Milwaukee tomorrow. The Padres will face the A's. Speaking of, Jeff McNeil hit a tying homer in the ninth inning. And Tyler Soderstrom had an RBI single in the 10th to rally the A's past the Angels 6-5 last night. It's almost full justice for us A's fans in that JT Ginn had that 8-inning no-hitter, lost everything in the ninth, the no-hitter, the shutout, and the game. Next game, A's just obliterate the Angels. What was it, like 16-7? I don't know. And then last night, they flipped the script. They come back. Jeff McNeil, they're down by one. It's 5-4. And he plops one into right field for a home run. They go in. They get the sixth run in the 10th, and they beat the Angels. Now, more texting. Steve went hard after, not that hard, kind of hard, after Aaron Savali yesterday. He's got good numbers, but you're right. He hasn't been great lately. Hasn't looked great lately. And I texted you at one point that he was struggling. I forget what I said because look, the A's spotted him too. It's 2-0. He comes out and he gives up a 2-run homer to Soler, and it's tied. The A's give him a run back in the second. He gives up 3 in the bottom of the second. Now, in the end, Savali threw his 5. There's your number. Your 5 innings. And he only needed 61 pitches to do so. It was rough 61. He gave up 5 hits, 5 earned runs. He had no decision. But he didn't. Okay. So the home run to Soler in the first. This was comical. I watched it on replay 6 times. If you don't know what a hanging curveball is, Google this, YouTube it, Savali Soler home run. Savali's release point is fantastic. He releases, and if you watch it in slow motion, you see the ball is right at the shoulders of Savali. Now he's throwing this new version of the curve that came in a long time ago. It's just new to me because I'm old. Where it's really more of a dipper than a curver. It basically goes up and comes down. It's like 12-6. The Savali curve. Well, it started out beautifully, right at the shoulder level, and it did that for about 20 feet, and then for 30 feet, it dove. It dove. I mean, the problem is you got 10 feet left. And it decided to stay right where it had dove to. This pitch at 76 miles an hour, okay, in the major leagues, landed right at Soler's high thigh level. You couldn't put it on a tee better, and he smashed it. So much so that Savali, not only did he not look back, he started he started walking towards the A's dugout. I'm like, what, are you going to pull yourself after this? He was so disgusted at it, and he should have been. If he was here, he would tell you that was a piece of crap pitch. It was awful. It was so bad I was laughing at it. I mean, this is my team. I have nothing against it, but when it happens, look, Eckersley's backdoor slider to Gibson. Eckersley gets too much crap for that. That wasn't a horrible pitch. It wasn't a great location, but Gibson just did it. It was his moment. This was not that. It's like Aaron Savali's son got on the mound and threw as hard as he could and put it right where Soler needed it. I think that's when I texted you.
Yeah, it wasn't good. And the 3 home runs he gave up, he has moments. I mean, he does. But he's just not consistently good enough for me to really want him in my rotation. He can eat innings, and there's something to be said about that. He stays relatively healthy, but is that what you want? There's Patrick Corbin who sits out there, who's a guy who doesn't seem to get hurt. He eats innings, but he's not going to give you very many quality starts.
The A's are still in first place after that win. They've won 2 in a row. Obviously, the Angels have lost 2 in a row. The A's are in first by a game over Texas, and they go at it again today with Severino on the road for the A's. Yay! Against Jose Soriano that's a good matchup for the Angels.
Yeah, on paper, it looks like a really good matchup. The Angels are a slight favorite in this game. Soriano started off the season. He was throwing the ball great, but he's really gotten rocked in his last 3 of his last 4 outings. He gave up 6 runs and 5 1/3 in his last outing. And then 2 outings prior to that versus the White Sox. He gave up 5 runs, 8 hits in 4 innings. And his ERA, while it's sitting at 2.44 on the season, if you're looking to play him, his ERA over his last 3 starts is 6.35 with a whip of 1.41. So he has not been throwing the ball well. He's a sinker ball pitcher, so he likes to keep the ball down, get a lot of ground outs, but that has not been the case as of late. Severino, he's on the road. This is a good sign. You might want to take a look at him, but he is also 0-3 in his last 3 outings with an ERA of 4.5, and his whip is 1.90. So he is putting on almost 2 runners per inning in his last 3 starts. His last outing, 6 innings, 5 runs, 10 hits, 2 walks. It was not a good outing, and that was at home against the Giants.
By the way, also, injuries, something we always follow with baseball, especially this year with some big names. But then there's the A's right-hander Gunnar Hoglund, who will not pitch this season. He'll be recovering from hip surgery. They announced yesterday he underwent a procedure, and he'll be done until the end of the year. He went 1-3 with a 6.40 ERA and 6 starts last year as a 25-year-old rookie. I saw the story. I went, I didn't even know Hoglund was still on the team. And he's not, kind of, sort of, but he won't play this year. More texting. The Giants, they decided to just go ahead, hand the broom to the Diamondbacks. They swept the San Francisco Giants 6-3 yesterday. The Giants are off today, and the thing that I texted to Steve was to let him know that his buddy Bryce Eldridge, the best prospect the Giants have, who they called up on May 4th, May 9th, he hasn't played. We read the whole thing yesterday. He's sitting on the bench. He's played 5 games. Manager Tony Vitello's defense of it made no sense. Basically, it said, well, the guy's a pro, and that makes it easy. Easy what? To just walk all over him and not, like Steve said, send him back to the minors for a few weeks. Let him get his groove back. So the Giants are off today. So yet again, so Eldridge had, what was it, 3 or 4 days ago? 2 or 3 days ago. He had a good game. But the lineup card for the next day was already made out. No, we're not. I've never heard of that. We're not going to scratch anybody. So he didn't play. Then he played yesterday, and he went 1 for 4. Fine, with an RBI. Now he's off today. I don't know if he's going to play tomorrow when the Giants play the White Sox at home.
And think about what you just said, and the manager admitted this, that the lineup card was already filled out prior to the game that they played the night before. Who's making the lineup card? I've never known a manager that has ever sat there and said, look, hey, it's a slow Monday. We got the day off. Let's make the lineup card out for the week, and I'll be all set so I can go fishing or play golf or do whatever, and I don't have to worry about it. That guy's going to get fired. So if he's not filling it out, it means it's coming from upstairs. And if the upstairs is the one doing this, I hate hearing this, but this is where those analytics have crept way too far into the game of baseball. And then I guess this is why we can hire a college coach to be the manager, because, well, he's really not going to make any decisions anyway. He's going to be the rah-rah guy to help keep the clubhouse nice and loose, and we're going to make all the decisions from upper management, but we're going to blame him for things that go wrong.
Right. And you'll remember, too, that Vitello's explanation for why Eldridge wouldn't be in that lineup after he went 2 for 4 was all analytical. Whoever was pitching a lefty, and Eldridge is a lefty, but the pitcher had the reverse thing going on where he got out righties better. He got something like that. I don't know. Maybe I don't have that right. But it was
no, you do. He has reverse splits. He's a lefty who gets out righties better. Or I'm sorry, he was a Lefty who gets out lefties better than right-handed hitters. So you had it all right. That's what he said.
It was all analytics. And and that's what I was thinking yesterday when we were reading it. He's not even doing this. He's being told what to do, and I guess he's being told why. But the person who's actually doing it is never going to be held accountable because they don't, which is not my endorsement of Tony Vitello. I don't know what that whole thing is about. I do not know what this experiment is. I don't know anything what the Giants are doing. I do know that they are in fourth place in the National League West, 11 games behind the Dodgers, only a game ahead of the Rockies. The Giants are off today. They'll start dealing with the White Sox at home. That should be interesting this weekend. The Diamondbacks are playing today, though, and they are 5 games back of the Dodgers, 6 ahead of the Giants. The D-backs will send Eduardo Rodriguez to the mound against the Rockies today. I don't have the Rockies starting pitcher here.
Sagano.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah, I didn't have it listed yet.
There's a reason you don't have that name in front of you. It's not a household name. Rodriguez has had a pretty decent year so far for Arizona. His season, he's 4-1 on the season, 2.55 ERA. His last 3, though, he's been really good. His ERA is 1.8. His WHIP's been 102. Sagano, I'm not a big fan, but it's tough to pick for Colorado. Not only is the team not very good, but it's tough to pitch in that ballpark. And even though this is a road game, you really wonder what the mental health is for these pitchers, knowing they have half their games at home. We watch it with Severino and how his dislike of pitching at home in Sacramento affects it. But Arizona is playing really good baseball right now, 4-game winning streak. They are a pretty decent size $2 favorite in this game. And they're hitting the ball. This team can. Ketel Marte, 3 hits last night. He's finally coming around. I keep waiting for Perdomo, their shortstop, to get it going, but he had 3 RBIs in this last game. Colorado, there's just not a lot of hope there. There's a reason they are the worst team in baseball. And just keep this in mind, though. They're only 1 game behind the Giants, which shows how bad this Giants team really has been this year.
Another texting barrage yesterday because we had talked about the matchup between the Yankees and the Blue Jays, and Cam Schlittler going for the Yankees. I always screw up this guy's name. Trey, is it Yesavage?
Yesavage.
Yesavage.
So so just go YE and then just Savage.
All right, Savage. Okay, that's easy. Trey Savage outpitched Cam Schlittler, but Steven texted me like scoreless through whatever it was at the point. I'm like, really? Between the two, there was a rain delay that lasted more than 2 hours. Then they traded zeros until the 7th. That's what it was. You literally texted me in the 7th. When Toronto loaded the bases, nobody out, infield single, bunt single. Suddenly it's 2-0 Toronto. Yes, Savage. Yes, Savage. There it is. Savage gave up only 2 hits, walked none, struck out 8 over 6 innings. His ERA in 5 starts after sitting out the first month of the season is 1.07. 3 of his strikeouts came against Aaron Judge, who got the golden sombrero and actually fanned all 4 times that he was up. The Yankees dipped to 4 games back. Blue Jays are 11.5 back in the American League East.
Yeah, the Blue Jays needed that win. That was a tough spot. Savage going into the season was the number 2 pitching prospect behind McLean for the Mets, and he's showing why. He had a great postseason last year for the Blue Jays. That's where everyone kind of got to know him, but really this is his rookie season. They had lost their first 2 games to the Yankees, and the Yankees, again, they got to find something. They lose. Why? Ben Rice 0 for 4, Aaron Judge 0 for 4. Those 2 are the only 2 guys in this lineup that can carry this team. And when they go 0 for, it's tough for the Yankees to win. But they have tonight. Carlos Rodon is on the mound, making his 3rd start of the season. He hasn't gone deep in any of his prior games. He went 4 1/3 in his first outing back, gave up 3 runs. Went 3 2/3 in his last outing and gave up 3 runs. So I'm wondering if he's coming back a little bit too soon, but we know the injuries on this Yankees team that they need to get these starting pitchers back. For Toronto, we're watching a guy named Fisher. I can't tell you a whole bunch about him. I think this will be his first start of the season. So most likely, oh no, Brandon Fisher, he is an opener. One start so far, 1 inning, and just gave up 1 hit. So he will be going 1 inning, and then we'll see who they bring in for the bulk of the innings after him. But again, another game, Blue Jays can't afford to fall farther back. They need to just make this series 2-2.
And this keeps being the story of the American League East right now. We'll see where it goes. The Tampa Bay Rays are in first place. They've won 4 in a row, and they're 4 games ahead of the Yankees. There's already some distance there. That's not insurmountable for anybody, especially the Yankees. But they are also 11 and a half ahead of the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. They are 13 ahead of the Orioles after a 4-run 8th inning last night completed a sweep of the Orioles 5-3. The Orioles are a mess. I feel like both the Blue Jays and the Red Sox are pretty much on the garbage heap, but maybe I'll withhold for 30 days. And the interesting thing here is it continues because everybody's off today. And tomorrow, remember, is when the Yankees and the Rays start a weekend series. And Garrett Cole will be, first start in 17 months or something like that. That'll be tomorrow. Big weekend, though. I mean, I just think about it from all the various angles of if one team sweeps. Yankees are 1 back. Yankees are 7 back. If it got to that point or something like that. So,
yeah, the Rays are just playing great baseball. I mean, they swept the Orioles here. The thing to keep in mind, though, is that series against the Yankees is in New York. The Rays, I got to believe, have the best home record in baseball. They're 19-5 at home. They're only 14-10 on the road. So this team at home has been outstanding. And this really is a big series for both, as we're seeing Garrett Cole moved up from his rehab into starting for the Yankees. So hopefully that will be that great series that we're all expecting.
if a quick review is correct, and it usually is, they're definitely the best home team with that winning percentage. And then one more. We mentioned the Brewers. They beat the, I don't know what they're doing, Chicago Cubs 5-0 yesterday for the Brewers to sweep the first series between those two. They're both off until tomorrow. The Cubs are now, they've lost 5 in a row. They've lost 8 of their last 10. They're still only a game and a half back of the Brewers because this weird National League Central. They're tied with the Cardinals, the Cubs are. And the Brewers, meanwhile, have won 3 in a row and 8 of their last 10. Another good series this weekend will be the Brewers and Dodgers, I think, are playing this weekend. Yes, they are. Brewers, Cubs are they had that winning streak, and then, like you said, a lot of times there's a big downtrodden. They're 5 down now.
Yes, and off that big winning streak, they are 2-9 in their last 11 for the Cubs. I mean, that's how badly they're playing, but they're still 18-8 at home. They're playing good baseball, but this was a huge series for the Brewers. I mean, I'm really starting to think the Brewers might be the best team in that division. I think it's a really competitive division as we sit there and look, and Pittsburgh, last place team, is even above 500. But where I thought this was the Cubs division to win, and they would really separate themselves, especially during that long winning streak, the Brewers just keep hanging around. Another shutout. Kyle Harrison, 7 innings, 2 hits, 1 walk, 11 Ks. Don't the Giants wish they had him back in that rotation to help this team out?
So obviously, one other game of note, if we jump to the American League Central, another bunched up one that may or may not be starting to separate. The Howardians are now 3 games up. You're going to hear this right, on the White Sox. The White Sox are in second, 3 games back. 5.5 back are the Twins. The Tigers and the Royals, 8.5 back. The Tigers have lost 5 in a row. They have lost 8 of their last 10. They are in the bottom of the 7th right now. Both starting pitchers are out. Cantillo and Mize both started. They're gone, and it is 2-0. The Howardians are up.
Yeah, going against Casey Mize, who's been throwing the ball. He had a good season last year. He was a high prospect for him who just never seemed to pan out, but he's doing all right there. The Tigers, though, this team's a mess right now, and I hate to admit it. They can't move runners over with runners in scoring position. They're really struggling there, and they can't hit. there's nothing. Riley Green is having an outstanding season so far for them. I think he's hitting around 325 to 330. But the rest of that lineup just isn't doing a whole lot outside of McGonigal, who's a rookie. He's still hitting at 285, but he has not been the same as he was before. And I love the Guardians. They're rookies. These young kids they got up in DeLauder and Bazana. And then you add in Angel Martinez and Jose Ramirez. Keep an eye on him. He's one of those sluggers in this game. He is starting to heat up. He got another hit last night. I don't know what he's done today, but he is starting to get it going for the Guardians as well.
Who was the last one? Hold on. Who'd you say?
Jose Ramirez, what he's done today.
He is 1 for 3 today, hitting 237 on the year. You also, let's see, there were 2 others there. McGonigal's 1 for 2. He's at 287. And Green, who you said, he's like 320, 330, something. Well, okay, he's 0 for 3 today, and he's at now 328. So, yeah, you had a 330 plus going in. And the Guardians are up 2-0, bottom of the 7th in Detroit, 2 outs, 1 on. And the Tigers in favor of dropping yet another game.
It's the Rob and Steve Sports Show, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. MAP, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com. Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040, Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
This is the Rob and Steve Sports Show. Call the show at 888-587-5355 or email the show at ras@theradnetwork.com.
All right, we'll jump to basketball, but first, we always say that breaking news changes everything. This one just came in. We've got our expert here on the panel. The Detroit Lions did not exercise linebacker Jack Campbell's fifth-year option before the deadline earlier this month, but Detroit has just announced that the club has signed Campbell to a 4-year... Again, this is Jack Campbell, not Dan Campbell. This is a linebacker. The Detroit Lions have announced they have just signed Campbell to a 4-year contract extension through 2030. Number 18 overall pick of the 2023 draft. One of the top players on Detroit's defense. You're the Lions fan. Good news. Are you excited? Is that good? Wrap him up?
Yes, he is the captain of that defense. He's the one who made it work. Obviously, the secondary's not been very good for years and years and years, but their linebackers used to be a big issue as well. But that's one of the things is Dan Campbell has really improved the linebacking core, and this Campbell is the leader on that defense.
Now, to basketball. More texting. OKC, they lost the first one at home. The Spurs stole one. Then comes last night, and the Thunder responds with a Game 2 victory. They evened the series as they head over to San Antonio. 122-113 win over the Spurs. OKC had a 57-25 advantage in bench points. Had 11 of the team's 14 steals as OKC converted 21 turnovers into 27 points. While we were texting last night, I watched a lot of this game, especially the second half. Even though OKC lost, even though the Spurs lost, it just felt like, pending the injury news we got to talk about, obviously, it felt like the Spurs have turned the corner and are maybe already outmatching the Thunder. I don't know. I mean, look, OKC held on. They won. It was a game that to me felt like, okay, oh man, here they come. No, and they never quite got there. And now moving forward, we were just talking about it yesterday. Who's going to be Wemby's Pippen? Well, the rookie guard Dylan Harper, right hamstring injury, third quarter. Darren Fox is already out for 2 games. Spurs coach Mitch Johnson couldn't provide an update on Harper. He's doing an MRI today in San Antonio. And never mind that Stephon Castle, the healthy left guard, the whole healthy guard left, has committed 20 turnovers over the first 2 games of the series, the most in a 2-game span by a player in the playoffs since they were first tracked in 1977. Okay, Steve. So the Spurs steal 1, and they didn't have Darren Fox for that. They lose Harper yesterday. We don't know. Castle's just giving the ball away. But after game 1, it was like, oh my God, the Spurs. And now it was like, maybe not. I still like what I saw from the Spurs. I don't know if they can absorb Harper's injury as well, if it's serious.
I think the Harper injury is really gonna take a toll on him. Hopefully Fox can be back. But watching the game, I agree with you. The Spurs took it to the Thunder. At no time was I ever comfortable. And the Thunder made those runs that they do against other teams. And then it's like, oh, okay, we're comfortable ahead by 10, 12 points. And the other team kind of falls back. The Spurs just came right back at them. 21 turnovers to only 9 turnovers for the Thunder. And they were in it till the end. Stephon Castle, great young player, but he's got to protect the ball. As you said, 11 turnovers first game, 9 turnovers in this last game. And they just match up really well. I mean, how many times did you watch the Thunder and they wanted to take it to the rim? They take it to the rim and then they back the ball back out because, look, Wemby's in there. We can't do it. And how many floaters, teardrops, whatever you want to say, that they did put up. And that's not part of their normal shot selections. That just shows how much Wemby affects the game when he's on that court, how you have to alter your shots and go with a different game plan. The Thunder, I thought, threw everything they could at them last night, and the Spurs still did not back away. Even though they lost by 9, this game was close for the most part throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, it was really, really only like a minute 11 left where I went, okay, we're out of clock. It was that close, particularly as it wound down last night. But yeah, that Harper injury. I just checked. No injury or no update yet has been reported on that.
And I was going to say the thing I would add to that is the outstanding game, and you don't see it in the box score, that Isaiah Hartenstein played. He was all over Wemby. He was pulling on him, yanking on him. He was doing everything he could to, one, frustrate him, and two, tire him out to give his team a chance come the fourth quarter. You don't see it in the box score, only 10 points, but he did have 13 rebounds. But he worked both ends of the floor as hard as anybody in that game and did a fantastic job. I don't think without him that the Thunder pull out this win.
Tarico referred to it at one point as Hardenstein was mauling Wemby, and he was. On the Stephon Castle turnovers, it's especially problematic when we report, as we did, that the bench for OKC last night converted 21 turnovers into 27 points. You just can't do this, Stephon. Knock it off. So they'll be back tomorrow night. Now, one other quick note. When we talk about the international thing, especially with the NFL, it's like hockey's already an international game, and they do a lot with the international stuff in hockey in general, and that makes sense. Canadians, Russians, etc. And then we get basketball. The NBA is what is it now? I think it's the last 7 MVPs are all from countries other than the United States, something like that. And you however you want to look at it, there's all of these guys in the NBA that are clearly not from America originally. International basketball makes sense. Baseball is truly the worldwide sport. So it doesn't bother me as much that yesterday the NBA announced that the Spurs and Frenchie Victor Wembanyama are returning to Paris for a regular season game. Next year, the NBA announced the Spurs will face the Pelicans in Paris and Manchester, England, January 14th, 17th next season. This season, it was the Grizzlies and Magic in Berlin and London. NBA has played 5 regular season games in Paris. They'll make its regular season debut in Manchester this year, and they plan to play at least 6 regular season games in Europe over the next couple seasons. Okay. That's not egregious to me. First of all, it's not egregious like the NFL. We want 16 of these. And it is a worldwide sport, particularly in Europe. It's fine.
And they matched it up. I mean, if you're going to do anything, you take Wemby to France. You let him play there. This isn't going to be the circus coming to town. This is going to be their hometown hero returning and starring in the NBA, and they get to see a live NBA game in their country. I think this part is wonderful. And as much as I'm against the international play, when it makes sense and it isn't just about the money, this is one of those that helps build basketball internationally. And yes, it is an international game, but this helps build on that relationship. And you're putting Wemby in. I mean, he's from France. You put him there, you allow him to star. The arena is going to be sold out in like 27 seconds. I mean, every ticket's going to be sold. They're not going to be giving it away like they do for all the NFL games that are played overseas for free.
And I do like how the NBA does it. Send 2 teams over there for a week. They play 2 games within 3 days of each other, and they come back. Boom. Equal disruption, etc. And I also do love in this particular case, they send the Pelicans as the sacrificial lamb over to Paris for Wemby to do whatever he wants to.
Yep, just give them a couple of wins here, make the fans happy. It's like the Globetrotters. Here it is. This is our version of the Globetrotters from the NBA.
So tonight, your big question is, can the Cavaliers recover from what some call their monumental collapse? Others say the Knicks figured it out. Let's just push and press and push and press. Harden yesterday, our buddy Perk, Big Perk was on, pardon the interruption, and he likes Harden. He's a Harden guy, and he was beside himself. He's like, I was screaming for Kenny Atkinson, not only about the timeouts, but take Harden out. I thought of you right away. Perk's like, what is he doing in there? He doesn't belong there. It was obvious. And the Knicks staged this monumental, historic comeback, the miracle at Madison Square Garden, and a lot of people, including Steve, Looks like. By the way, I agree with this entirely. It's the Knicks series to lose. They go at it tonight again at the Garden, 5 o'clock, ESPN.
Yeah, the Knicks are a 5-point favorite in this game, and I think we're all curious to see how it's going to go. I mean, are the Cavs going to go at Jalen Brunson, which is what gave them their success in that second and third quarter and allow them to build such a huge lead that they had? And or the Knicks just going to say, look, it worked for us in the fourth quarter and overtime going at Harden. Let's just continue it until they can stop it. So I'm real curious to see how the coaches adjust to it. I saw Atkinson again saying, no, it was a team breakdown on defense. It wasn't just Harden. Yes, to a certain extent, but boy, did they expose that weak link in that defense. I still think this could be a really good series. It's just what Cavs team's going to show up. And we've been saying that. I'm tired of saying that. I've been saying that the entire season long. And for me, the I still question whether or not you can even play Harden going forward some serious minutes with his deficit on defense. And this is where at the time I was not a fan. I like Darius Garland. I think they should have kept him. And for me, that also hit it home because I was against that trade. And sitting there right now, I got to believe the Cavs would rather have Garland in that backcourt than James Harden.
One of the things about this time of the year for the NBA is more than the other big three sports is you're in the postseason, you're still playing basketball, but all of the offseason hype, just because of their accelerated schedule, just jiggers up big time. So anybody that's not playing, we're all talking about where you're going to play, what are you going to do, who are you going to add, who are you going to draft, who are you going to trade for, who are the big names, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the latest is Kawhi Leonard, who's entering the final year of his 3-year, $150 million contract extension with the Clippers, potentially making him an unrestricted free agent next summer. Not this summer, but next summer. He had 65 games. He averaged just under 28 points. Clippers finished 42-40. So looming around this, remember also we've talked a little bit about the whole the Clippers Leonard thing with the ongoing NBA investigation into owner Steve Ballmer, who did he facilitate a $28 million no-show endorsement deal for Leonard. So there's all that gooiness that's in there. What role that plays, I don't know. But the Clippers basically, say many, are in an interesting position. Do you decide we're still in win now mode or we're going to rebuild? And LA, they already what they did the Harden trade, speaking of, and they also sent Zubac and Brown to the Pacers, and they have this 2026 pick that they got from Indiana that's now the number 5 pick. So the Clippers could package the number 5 pick in a trade to bring in another superstar or other pieces around Kawhi, or go the other route and bring in one of the draft's top prospects, signaling they're moving off of Kawhi and put him on the trade market. Let's start there, and then we'll talk about where Kawhi might go. Clippers seem so like, meh, whatever. They're in the West. They don't really, okay, I don't know what this, they have to decide if they're in win now mode. That mode hasn't been working for them very well. Where should they go?
Well, the Clippers, that mode hasn't worked for them ever in their franchise history. You know, they had Paul George there, they had their team, they couldn't even make a serious run at it from there. Now they've moved on, they've moved their players on. It's pretty much Kawhi left. I think you got to continue that rebuild. You move Kawhi, let's go get some first round draft picks, and I would want something in the top 12 or 13, at least in the top 12 of this. I don't know if you're going to get into the top 4 where it really matters, and just start the rebuild process. I don't think they're competing with the Spurs right now with where they're at in the next 2 to 3 years. I know they're not competing with the Thunder right now in the next couple of years. So set your sights and say, look, we're going to rebuild. We're going to move on, but we want to be competitive in 2028, 2029 season, somewhere around that. Accept your fate. Know that, look, just finish 4 through 10. I get 3 balls in the lottery versus 2. So I don't have to be a total, tear the building down because I don't want to be in the top 4 in that tanking part. I can tank just fine and land at 7.
So if they do go that route, there is, say a lot of insiders, a distinct list of teams that Kawhi would fit in with if he was traded. Of course, wherever he goes, he has to agree to an extension that the the team for the new team for the trade to work. So the names that are being thrown around are the Lakers. Rumor has it that Kawhi was leaning towards becoming a Laker in 2019. He opted for the Clippers. He's an LA native. He's always been adamant about wanting to play close to home. Of course, you do that. Well, what are you doing with everybody else on the Lakers? Whether it's Austin Reeves, LeBron, Rui, I don't know. That's an interesting angle of he plays for the Lakers. To me, that means LeBron's gone. I would think. I don't know. What do you? I don't even know.
Yeah, and Reeves is probably gone. I mean, maybe you keep Reeves there. You use LeBron's salary to bring in Kawhi. Kawhi's, I think, is going to cost him more money than that $52 million for LeBron, depending on how those NBA contracts go.
And that's the number. That's what the Lakers allegedly have is about $50 million. So that I don't know the legitimacy of that working, especially with the agreement. But anyways, they're on the list. This is in no particular order. The Warriors are on the list. Still the West Coast. Kawhi gets with Steph and gives the Warriors a defensive presence on the level of Draymond and provides them another scorer, go-to option in late game situations. And the reasoning behind this also is the Warriors want to hang on to their number 11 pick, which brings up the question, if they're so adamant about that, how are they going to get any big superstar?
Correct. And I'd love to see Kawhi go to the Warriors. I think he would really help them out. I just don't think they have, even with the 11th pick, I don't think they have enough to even entice the Clippers to go for it. Look what the Clippers gave up for Paul George. You know, the Thunder are still reaping the rewards of that trade. And that was SGA in there on top of 6 number 1 draft picks.
So what about a reunion with the Raptors? It's not really West Coast, but, you know, a lot of people say the Raptors are a Kawhi-type player away from competing in the East. Agree?
Competing. That's not winning. That's competing. Yes, I agree. He will greatly help them. Are they going to go on and win a championship? No. Are they going to be better than the Celtics, the Knicks, the Cavs, the Pistons? No.
Which brings us to the 2 most interesting ones that are being bandied about. Your Detroit Pistons, who many say their flaws were on national display. You said that. Missing another guy who can get his own shot, make plays for others. The Detroit offense looked lethargic when the Cavaliers keyed in on Cunningham. So you add Kawhi to fill that void tremendously. You're a Pistons fan. Do you like that move?
He would fit in really nicely with that team and open some things up. And, you know, Kawhi went to San Diego State. So I'm an alumni from there. So Kawhi being on the Pistons isn't going to hurt my feelings.
And then the wildest one, an admitted long shot, but the owner, we just call him by his first name, Vivek, he does love big name players. And people are saying don't count the Kings out. I am, by the way. I'm counting them out, but I'll read this anyways. As they continue down the basketball purgatory lane, there are incentives, say a lot for Kawhi. I mean, look, it's still California. It's a very short plane ride to LA to Sacramento. He'd get paid. He's a short flight from home. Kings are kind of sort of in a rebuild, we think. We don't know. Maybe it doesn't fit the timeline, but they did throw the Kings. It's a national story, and they threw them in there, and they, as an admitted long shot, but they say don't count them out. Okay, well.
I have to count them out. And let's just look at this Kawhi. Let's say the Kings offer him a 4-year, and again, contracts in the NBA are regulated and they can't exceed. But like, let's say he became the first $100 million player in the NBA, and he got like 4 years, $400 million to go play for the Kings. Is he really signing, or is he hitting what I believe void on that trade that comes up? I have to believe he has the right a refusal on any trades. And I just can't see him going to the Kings because that's a money grab. If he goes there, it's solely money. It's not about winning championships. And you have to believe he has enough money at this point that really, what's the difference between 50, 60 million and say the 100 million that I'm trying to give him? I mean, really, it's not going to make a difference to him personally. At this point, he should be about winning championships, and that's not going to happen in Sacramento.
that's kind of the personality test that would be involved. I mean, this is a totally hypothetical scenario, but the reason would be if he could in your hypothetical be the first $100 million man, ego is the reason he would do it. Yes, cash grab, you're right. The difference between 60 million and 100 million for us mortals, and even for him in a day-to-day space, he already has generational wealth. But I'd be the first 100 million. Look how good I am. LeBron never did. I don't know Kawhi. I don't know anything about him. Or does he just want to win? Because you're right. The Kings, no, you cross them off. Well, you can't talk postseason without talking LeBron. Couple items. In his podcast yesterday, he said the Lakers were just out-talented by the Thunder in the playoffs. LeBron said things like, quote, "This year we fought and we played to the maximum ability of our team, but ultimately, if we're being completely honest, we were out-talented. We were not outworked. They didn't," he's talking specifically of OKC, "they didn't out-physical us. They didn't outsmart us. I feel like we were just out-talented by OKC. They just possess so much more talent." Fair evaluation by LeBron? Self-awareness?
Yes, I've been saying that all along. All I did was basically say what I was. Put Luca healthy. They're still not beating him. They are out talented by this Thunder team.
So then you, of course, well, what about you, LeBron? What are you doing in the same podcast? He said he's still taking his time. He hasn't even thought about it. Here's his timeline currently. He hasn't even gone on vacation with the family yet, which that was the big deal, right? That was one of the first big ones. Get away with the family, talk about it. He says that'll happen after Memorial Day, so next weekish. And he says he says late June or as July rolls around, he sees himself making whatever decision he's going to make.
Thank you for letting us know before we go into the draft, LeBron.
Let's stay with LeBron, shall we? There is a feeling that LeBron would like to remain with the Lakers, but Sham says, ESPN Insider says that many teams are already calling LeBron's agent Rich Paul. Says, I spoke to Rich Paul the other day at the Combine. He told me every contender in the NBA since the season ended has placed a call. Every contender, according to Rich Paul, who is LeBron's agent, whose job it is to lie and hype things up, but that doesn't mean he's lying. Every contender has called, although that's not how much substance was in the call. How did they go, hey, this is Miami Heat calling? No, we're not interested. We've been there, done that. I don't know how the calls went.
Every call calling doesn't surprise me. The part of the conversation the agent left off was every team that made the call also said, is LeBron willing to play for less than $10 million per season? And if he is, then we have interest in adding him onto our roster because I still think he can help us win a championship.
And we've heard LeBron, you can make the same argument as the Kawhi thing. He's certainly not willing to go league minimum for veterans. And where is he? How much of a pay cut is he willing to take? And which team, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. If James leaves the Lakers, reports are still consistent. He is most likely, people believe, to join either the Cleveland Cavaliers, his original team, or the Golden State Warriors. The distance third is the Clippers, because then he can stay in LA. So it's the same three teams for the most part keep getting mentioned.
Okay, would it be great if we would know before the draft, but I was going to say, if he goes to the Clippers, but then the Clippers move Kawhi for just like a truckload. Now, yeah, LeBron, it's just you. You can star. You can do whatever you want. You're not even making the play-in tournament. You are going to be, who knows, we may only get 2 balls for you because we may be one of the 4 worst teams in the NBA.
Oh, dear. Also... Yeah, okay, sure. Wait, let me do this. Let me follow it up on that, and then I'll do the other agent story. If the Lakers are to upgrade their roster this offseason, LeBron James will have to take some kind of pay cut. He made $52.5 million last season. There is no team he would seriously consider signing that can or will offer him anything close to that. So, in a perfect world, people are saying he would accept the veteran minimum salary, especially given that he's worth $1 billion. There's kind of the Kawhi argument. And this was mentioned last time, and you know, if you're going to do the numbers, LeBron, of all the people, could make up the difference easily by working with his production company, which works with Peyton Manning's production company, all of whom work with Netflix, and just document the farewell season. That's something we were talking about that last year. Would it be that? So it's the deal is in place basically, and LeBron would make a crap load of money from that if we're gonna do this about money. Jake Fisher, an NBA insider, says though none of this is gonna happen. Well, maybe the Netflix thing. He says. Last Tuesday, I said there were many people around the league who thought that LeBron should take a veteran minimum salary. It does not sound like this is in the cards at all. I want to be very, very clear about that after many text messages and phone calls I received after sharing that sentiment, end quote. In other words, he's kind of parroting Sham, saying, I've talked to a lot of people. They're willing to pay him a lot more than the minimum, and or the teams that have called Rich Paul have been told, no, we're not playing for under 10 or whatever the number is. The veteran minimum would be $4 million, by the way, for the season. The Lakers have about $50 million in salary cap this summer. They have Austin Reeves they have to deal with, who many say would command $40 million a year on his next contract. Well, that doesn't leave much. So there's that with the LeBron thing with the Lakers.
And I think Rui Hachimura is a free agent for the Lakers as well. I mean, they're going to let him walk as well. We're just trying to get the Lakers back to what I really, really would love to hear is, and we won't hear it, but this is what I'd love to see LeBron do. Look, go take your vacation with your family. But what you need to be working on right now and the early part of this summer is putting together an ownership package to make a bid for the Las Vegas expansion NBA team. You really want to make an impact on the NBA. Go be a part of this, buy the team, continue your legacy, show Jordan that you are a better owner and do a better job and can make your team win, because that's one of the things that Michael Jordan failed at. And just walk away from the NBA. You got your production company. Vegas to LA is not very far. I mean, they keep trying to build some production facilities here in Las Vegas to do all of that and concentrate on becoming an NBA owner, because I think that would be something that he would be very proud of. And please, please, please don't do the Netflix thing. I don't want to see a final season farewell tour and everything's documented and we just see how great behind the scenes LeBron really is, even though that's all made up too. And I'm not saying he's not a great person, but you're not telling me they're giving you the true insight of what's going on behind the scenes. I don't want to see it. I don't think, maybe there's a lot of people who do, but please don't put us through that.
Rob and Steve continue next, only on the radnetwork.com.
Longtime advertiser Sue Berry, that's Berry with an A, is more important now than ever. Sue and her team have been serving Northern Nevada and the outlying areas for 30 years, and her experience in both commercial and residential lending is vital, as every day we're bombarded with news of interest rates, the market, the economy, and a bunch of other stuff that Sue can actually make sense of while everyone else's eyes glaze over. Now remember, it's Sue Berry with an A, B-A-R-R-Y, SueBerry.com. Most people think berry is spelled like a fruit or Halle Berry, but no, it's Sue Berry with an A, like soul singer Barry White's first name.
I've heard people say,
Stop that. Sue is a broker versus a retail lender, which means she can shop over 150 different lenders to get you the very best rate possible. And on average, someone who uses a broker like Sue saves over $10,000 per loan, which includes refinancing. And if you have a rate at 6.5% or higher, call Sue for a free quote now on a refinance. Sue Berry and her incredible team from Barrett Financial can be found at SueBerry.com. That's Berry with an A. I've been working with Sue and recommending her to you for years. All you need to do is call her now so she can get you pre-approved. Just call your residential and commercial lending expert, Sue Berry, at 775-843-9983. Oh, Rob, stop. You're going too fast. What was the number again? 775-843-9983. Or just head to SueBerry.com. The number's right there. Berry is B-A-R-R-Y. Sue Berry with an A.com. That's Sue Berry, B-A-R-R-Y.com. SueBerry.com.
Disclaimer, Sue Berry, NMLS number 366040. Barrett Financial Group, LLC, NMLS number 181106, Nevada 5091, Equal Housing Opportunity.
Longtime maggots will remember Greg from MAP. MAP, as in Maximum Athletic Performance, which guides you to better output through better ingredients, also known as nutrition. Greg has been on the Rad Show many times and will be again, as he simplifies nutrition and helps us all understand what actually works when it comes to fueling our bodies, almost all of which can be found at maptrition.com. Every product is formulated with clinical precision and backed by science and purpose, and maptrition.com has something for every fitness level, even those of us who barely have a fitness level. With nearly 20 years as a nutritionist and a specialization in sports nutrition, Greg works with athletes and everyday individuals to optimize performance, energy, and overall health through smarter fueling strategies, all of which starts at maptrition.com. At the very least, we should all be taking daily multivitamins, and Greg has his formulated for exactly what a man or woman's body needs. Protein is in, but maybe instead of getting yours from mac and cheese with extra protein, you get it from maptrition.com. And of course, all things workout, training, and exercise are available as well. From pre-workout to creatine and other muscle builders to recovery supplements and more, all at maptrition.com. From morning breakfast essentials to post-workout recovery and everything in between, maptrition.com's full range of supplements, proteins, and wellness products are built to power your journey from start to finish. Check out all the products and find what's right for you and order it shipped to you all at maptrition.com. That's maptrition.com.
You know those guys you see in a sports bar laughing and enjoying each other and just talking sports? That's this. Back to the Rob and Steve Show. Email them, ras@theradnetwork.com.
Speaking of LeBron and where's he going to land, we don't know. But we talked about the idea of him filming or documenting his final season, whether it's next year or the year after, and making it a Netflix special. And Steve went off on a random rant. Please don't do that. We don't want. And you made the absolute right point. We're gonna see what LeBron wants us to see. We're not gonna. It's gonna be all fluff. It's gonna be all. And I'm again with you. He is great. He's an amazing player. You and I though do agree. We're not even sure he's top 10. We still haven't actually sat down and ground that one out. And so I saw about Perk was on ESPN yesterday. Kendrick Perkins, Kendrick, right? Is that the right first name?
Yes.
Yeah. Former player, and he made a great point about screaming about why didn't Harden get taken out of the Cavs game the other night. But then he was asked about Wemby. He said something similar to you, Steve, and then he kind of destroyed it. He in my head, he was asked about what he saw, what he's seen from Wembanyama, and he said all the qualifiers, stays healthy, everything's good. He said, I believe in 20 years we will all sit around and we will talk about the greatest of all times in the NBA, and there'll only be 3 names: Wembanyama, Jordan, and LeBron. I just looked at my TV. I was in the kitchen. I looked at my TV and said, really, Perk? Really? I'm just trying to make dinner here. Really? LeBron, that's it. Those are the 3. Wembanyama, and again, all the qualifiers, and Jordan. LeBron?
I'd love to ask Shaq, because we don't have him up there. Shaq, do you believe LeBron is a better player than you? Outside of his ability to play for, as long of a career as he has had. I don't think Shaq's saying that LeBron was a better player than him.
What do you think? Right. And this is that, what they say privately, right? What they say to themselves, what they really, really, really think. We got to get Shaq really drunk or something like that. What about Magic? You think Magic is, Magic's such a positive guy. You think when he's quiet.
And this is why it's so difficult. I mean, we're not even getting into Bill Russells, the Wilt Chamberlains, all these other players. I don't get there with LeBron. His longevity has been outstanding. The fact that he has continued to win has been outstanding. He is a great, great player. I just can't put him in that conversation for the greatest of all time.
I certainly can't understand how you even say there'll only be 3 names to
Yeah.
be discussed. No, no,
I,
that's the NBA's. I really might be the hardest one to come up with that top 25 list. Oof.
it
You-
is. And I could buy the look, we may be talking about two. And Wemby, as I've said, if he can play till he's 40 and continue doing what I think he has the potential, not saying he's going to be, but
Right.
at this young of an age, if he stays healthy, never gets injured, is able to play all the games he wants and do what he does, I don't see how he would not be in that conversation. You watch the Thunder, the best team in the NBA. How many shots did they have to alter what they really want to do because of his presence? I don't recall anyone altering your whole entire offensive scheme because LeBron's on the court. You can't take it inside. We can't even drive to the rim anymore. We got to start doing floaters, teardrops, whatever you want to call it. It just Wemby's presence is unbelievable on that court.
We talked a couple weeks ago as all the leagues, the NFL's spearheading it, but everybody is going the direction of branching out, streaming services, etc. And even in college, we mentioned that Duke had announced a multi-year partnership with Amazon Prime, giving Amazon the exclusive streaming rights to multiple Duke basketball games each season. Now there's some hullabaloo, hubbalub, whatever you want to call it, that one of the most highly anticipated men's games of the 26-27 season might not happen, might not be seen by a lot of people. Who knows? The reigning national champion Michigan and Duke had already announced they will play on December 21st at Madison Square Garden in New York. I mean, what a matchup, what a venue. But the vibes have changed after that Duke deal with Amazon, and because keep in mind the game against Michigan is part of that deal. Amazon would get it. The ACC and ESPN, of course, they're all supportive of the deal. They all say they're supportive. But the same can't be said for the Big Ten and its broadcast partner, Fox, which is putting the game status in question. The main issue is the Big Ten, it's always money, believes Michigan should get a cut of the revenue from the game. New York, of course, top number one market in the country. It's an issue for Fox. So Duke goes out, says, Amazon, here's some games you can have of ours. And Michigan and the Big Ten said, excuse us, what about us? And Fox is like, whoa, wait a minute.
Right. Fox pays so much money for that package to just be squeezed out and say, oh, Duke, they don't control the whole rights to that game for television. There's two opponents in the game, and I'm surprised it didn't come out earlier. You would have thought they would have worked out all these details before you even went out and announced it. And not just for this game, but I think you said 4 games. All 4 games should have been ironed out before we even got to this point and they were able to announce the deal.
Yeah, no, it's a very screwy situation, and nobody knows where it's going to end, or who's. But that's out there now, and the other thing that's out there too that has been brought up. I've been harping on this for a couple weeks now, is the WNBA just seems to be losing its luster super quickly on a variety of levels, and then when you add in Caitlin Clark and getting injured, it's premature, but it feels like, well, you had your 15 minutes and they only lasted 2 of them. Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark was a late scratch last night because of a back concern. I remember her coach, Stephanie White, last week said, oh, there's no reason for concern. No reason for concern. Well, Caitlin Clark woke up with stiffness and soreness yesterday in her back, and White does not expect it to be an ongoing issue for Clark. She said it's not the time to take a chance. We just really want to be cautious. Caitlin Clark did not even participate in practice on Tuesday. White said Clark is absolutely not sitting for load management and said she's healthy. This is just a back issue that we want to make sure we give the time to be ready. Well, as a guy who's been through the back thing, this is nothing to just dismiss. You can dismiss it publicly as much as you want, but to say this is just a back issue, this is the oldest joke in the book. The back issues are the one things that quote never go away. It's also it's phantom based. This is how defense attorneys often win all these big summaries of car wrecks because oh my neck, my back, and you can't trace it. And and Coach White just don't worry. Well, okay, I don't know about Caitlin Clark's health. What I do know is it devastates the WNBA. Their opening game of the season this year was down from last year. So even when they started the season, and that was the Wings fever, right away, fewer buy balls were, it was still a big number, relatively speaking, but not as big as last year for the WNBA, which mirrors the NCAA women's basketball tournament, which had some rough going early on. In the end, they kind of leveled out. And it mirrors every time Clark goes out, and WNBA ratings plummet by 50%. Game wise or season wise, when you look at last year when Caitlin Clark went out with the strained left quad, nationally televised WNBA viewership in total, not just her games, went down 55%. That's who Caitlin Clark is, and the WNBA in totality seems to be floundering.
And when you present these things, and we all know them and we've known them, it just astonishes me when I see these other players who are jealous or whatever, and Caitlin Clark is not the WNBA, and we're the ones who really make it. And then you see things like the Indiana Fever came out with their little advertisement, promo guide, and Caitlin Clark's a player in the background. She's not even the lead player that shows up there. I've said this. I've always been a big fan of the WNBA. I have not watched it, nor will I watch it this year. I don't like the direction this league has taken. It doesn't surprise me that these numbers have happened. And if her back continues to be an issue, which I think her coach did not do her any favors with that, oh, well, she's healthy. We're just being cautious. I think she's setting Caitlin up there in a little bit for Caitlin's going to take the blame if Caitlin's not able to go out there, which I don't think is fair to her. Uh, but I'm curious to see where the NBA goes as a whole with this last deal. If I'm the NBA, I'm pulling out. Look, you're self-sufficient now. You got your TV contracts. You have everything. We're no longer going to subsidize your league. You're totally on your own. Either sink or swim. This is all on you. And that's what I would do if I'm the NBA. And I'd love to see it happen because sorry to say this, honestly believe the league would be gone within 3 years.
The thing that's really fascinating to me about the Caitlin Clark thing and the way she's been handled and all of the animosity in both directions, and you always have in the background the race issue. The analogous thing that I think of is Tiger. 30 years ago, Tiger Woods changed golf. Now, golf had been around forever, unlike the WNBA. Men's golf had been around forever. It was a really niche sport in terms of TV viewership. Greg Norman was like the biggest thing on the planet at the time, and people just didn't watch a lot of golf. I didn't watch golf ever until I started playing golf. I thought it was the most boring thing on the planet. Start playing it, watch it all the time because you can relate to it. And you love seeing those moments that Steve always brings up. Hey, I've done that. Look, a pro just did that horrible thing that I do. Like, I do it 8 times around, but hey, he does it once in a lifetime. That's all I need. Tiger comes along, of course. And this is why I point out it's 30 years ago. Attitudes were different. Times were different. Of course, there was a little pushback. Fuzzy Zeller put his foot in his mouth with a stupid little joke about, the type of food that Tiger was going to serve at the Masters dinner. That was an old man with old viewers, old opinions of how you talked about other people. I'm not excusing it at all, but they embraced Tiger. They quickly recognized this guy's going to lead us to the promised land. And boy, did he. These purses in golf are extraordinary, and it's because of one guy. It's because of Tiger Woods. This is the problem when we talk greatest of all time thing, because we talk about, wait a minute, stat to stat is one thing. Did they transform the game? Did they transform the sport? Did they transform the interest like Jordan did? LeBron didn't do any of that. Tiger did. I don't know. Did Nicholas? I mean, Nicholas is the king. Did he and Palmer transform it? Yeah. I mean, there's an argument to be made there. And my point is, golf embraced it. And you talk to guys now like Greg Norman and Nick Price and guys that were around in the early 90s before Tiger, they're like, I can't believe how much money these guys make. The guy who's finishing 50th is making what I made when I won the Open. And that's not an exaggeration, by the way. And the WNBA, they just don't, they're all the cliches. They're killing the golden goose. What are we doing? I'm with you.
Just support her, back her up, thank her for how she has put the WNBA in the mainstream media. Without her, it would still be the way it was for the first 17 years of losing 200 million plus every year. Embrace it, like it or not, but embrace it, because every player, we saw it with this contract, every player in that league is far better today than they were a year ago. And if you pull her out, none of this happens.
And if let's go down that road. If Caitlin Clark has a chronic back injury and she starts missing half seasons, full season, lots of games, worst case scenario, just becomes a shell of herself, no, this league won't exist in 3 years. They won't be able to pay these salaries because the attendance and everything else will just plummet. In the worst case scenario, I don't even know if Caitlin Clark next week it's announced she's out for the year because they found or they haven't told us about a disc or something. She needs surgery. I'm not saying they'd fold in a year, but it would be brutal. I mean, the numbers would be brutal.
And that's what I'm saying. If you pulled Caitlin Clark out right now, within 3 years, I don't think the league's around.
All right, we're back tomorrow.
This has been a presentation of the Rob and Steve Sports Show, brought to you by the Rad Network and is copyrighted by the radnetwork.com and Williams Broadcasting for the private use of our audience. Any reproduction, accounts, or descriptions of whatever Rob and Steve just talked about without the express permission of the Rad Network, Williams Broadcasting, and Rob's really mean